Hello everyone, welcome to another Cooking with Ryan video. Uh, this time I'm making pumpkin mushroom soup, and I was really lucky to have come across this recipe from a previous potluck I had at my previous firm at J.S. Dyer's, where we had I think it was Thanksgiving potluck. Everybody brought something, and one of my coworkers, Megan Chang, brought this soup in a crock pot, and man, it was good. And I asked her for the recipe. She gave it to me, and I will post the recipe on the bottom in the link description, so you guys could try to cook it if you want. But yeah, this is everything that's required. First, it's really pumpkin curry mushroom soup, but the curry here I put a lot of curry. But the basic ingredients are mushrooms, which we're gonna clean and slice, onions, which we're gonna dice, the chicken broth, and then the pumpkin. So it sounds like an odd recipe, like pumpkin and mushrooms and curry. What is all that? Well, I'll tell you what. It's delicious, and I've made it before for Thanksgiving. It's really good during colder months, like it's going to be happening for this fall and winter. So you guys can try to cook it. Heavy whipping cream. Buy that anywhere. We got some salt and pepper that we're going to go ahead and use when we're going to spice it up. I got a couple of different curries here. It doesn't really matter as long as you have curry powder. It's all good. The recipe calls for some honey, which I'll be adding, and some cayenne pepper, but you can also substitute that with chili powder. So anyway, I'm not going to go through me kind of prepping up all the vegetables. I'll have to dice these. I'll have to slice these. But I will just cut the video and then jump into me cooking it all. So I'll go ahead and prep it up. And yeah, I'll cut to the next scene will be me cooking it. All right, I think it's recording. Yes. Okay. So this is the first part of the recipe. Is to pretty much get your butter. And the recipe has 8 tablespoons, but I'm doing the recipe times 1.5. So the recipe says 8 tablespoons. As you can see, the butter usually has, you cut it there. That's a tablespoon, and a full stick is 8. So I'm doing 1.5. Okay. So go ahead and heat up your pan and throw in the butter. Probably be easier to cut them up before you throw it in there, but oh well. Let's see here. Just cut up that butter. Cut it up beforehand. Like that. Grab this. Cut it up. Ghetto style chopping. But it works. Okay, there's all that butter. Yep, this is probably not the healthiest thing, but you know what? Tastes good. It's gonna taste good. Okay, so it looks like that's going to be heating up there. I got some new kitchen utensils from Costco. Probably be using these. These new bad boys. I couldn't resist. It was like one of those, you know, like when you go into Costco, it's the first thing you see on the entrance. They have like a whole row of products. Well, they had a whole kitchen set, and I bought a whole set of knives and a whole set of new kitchen utensils, and I love them. It's like this kind of like ceramic plastic thing here, and metal handles. Good stuff. All right, so just melt the butter till it's completely melted. Move these around. Yeah. There we go. Let me put up the heat to about medium, high. There we go. Grab a piece, swirl it around. Yeah. That. Pretty much good. Okay, so the first part of the recipe is, hold on. I have it up on my computer here. We're going to saute the mushrooms. And this is, it's a lot of mushrooms right here. Looks like a lot. It's 1.5 pounds of mushrooms, which is a lot. Looks like a lot, but once you saute them, they're gonna shrink. So just go ahead and coat all that butter with these mushrooms. And right now they're all kind of white with the black parts, but it's gonna become brown once it's finished. Just go ahead and mix them together like that. Sort of like the onion, it takes about 5 minutes to brown them. There we go. Just like that. Yeah, the heat's still heating up. So be a little bit of time. There we go. So all the mushrooms are nicely coated with the butter. Just go ahead and let that saute once the heat starts to get going. It should bubble and stuff. There we go. I'm finally hearing it. Here. This. Okay, let's see. I'm going to need measuring cups. We're going to be adding some of the pumpkin here. Keep mixing it like that. There we go. You know, to get all these ingredients, well, not all of them, but I had a lot of these ingredients already in my my cupboards and stuff, but I had to get all the ingredients fresh. You know, supermarket down the street. Usually I just go drive there, but I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go ride my bike there today. It was really nice. It was just a beautiful day in Orange County. Sunny, 75 degrees, blue skies. Feel really blessed to be living here. Yeah. Plus, you know, get a little exercise while you're at it. It's like a win-win to be out there. Instead of driving your car, you know, 5 minutes. Why not ride a bike for 10 minutes? Yeah. I encourage that. Well, I know certain cities aren't really conducive to a lot of bike riding. But it is still good if you can do it. It's good for your health. It's good to get some sun. on your skin. Alright, so you can see like the mushrooms are starting to brown, but it's gonna have to be kind of soft and like not as firm as they used to be. Be a little soggy. So a little bit more. Let's let those cook. They are getting a little browner, you can tell. Let's see, maybe I should zoom in on the camera a little bit. Let's see if I can do this. Is that better? I think that's better. Yeah, right about there. Okay, that's good. Alright, just keep mixing this. Make sure all the mushrooms are evenly cooked. There we go. Yes. You know, I never really eat a lot of mushrooms on the regular. I think the only time I really ever eat mushrooms is when I make this stuff. Well, actually, I take it back. Like, well, I don't make mushrooms at home a lot, except when I make this. But I do like mushrooms. I like them on pizza. I like portobello mushrooms with tomatoes, good stuff. Italian foods. Oh yeah. I would say this dish is more American. I would say. Not sure. There's a little bit of everything in here. But mostly this is, I would say this is the American dish. There's the pumpkins and mushrooms. Or you could argue it's a little bit of everything. Curry powder. Where's curry from? Well, India or Asia. They use a lot of curry, right? Well, it's food. Basic ingredients found everywhere. Okay, so look at this. See how like it's getting kind of soggy and wet? So like some of the water content from the mushrooms is now getting released. So you can see there's a lot more liquid than there was before. And that's good. So these mushrooms are close to being finished as far as like the saute goes. So you wait till they're brownish, which I would say it's close, maybe another minute or two. They are kind of soft and bendy. See, when you poke at it. Yeah. Alright. Let it cook there. You're going to need a strainer for this next part, because what we're going to do is we're going to, in about a minute, we're going to remove all of this mushrooms, but we want to leave the liquid in there. So we're going to remove all the mushrooms, but leave the liquid. My strainer and my container. So let me just make sure this is sauteed. See that? No longer white, more brownish. Okay. Maybe another minute. Just make sure they're nice and soft. Oh, that smells good. It's going to smell even better later. Okay, I'm going to start to strain it. Just toss it in here. Kind of squeeze out that juice. Push it down. Put it to the other container over here. You can't see it. Yeah, you can't see it. Well, anyway. Put all the mushrooms in the strainer. Push it down. All the liquid just pops right out the bottom. See that? Yeah. So once I finish taking out all these mushrooms, there's going to be a liquid left, and we're going to cook the onions in it. There we go. It's really difficult to get the rest in here. I found it easier to tilt the pan so you could get the rest. Yeah. One more time. Is that everybody? Yeah, a few more stragglers in there. Come here. There you go. A few more. Get them all the little bits. There they are. Okay, that's it. All right, so that was 1.5 pounds of mushrooms. I'm gonna set that aside, and we have this is 2 medium-sized brown onions, diced and chopped. Throw that in there. Okay, and same thing as the mushrooms, we're going to heat this until they are clear. And for those that have watched my other videos, pretty much almost all my recipes have onions in them. For the dishes that I've cooked. It's the same thing. Except this time it's not oil, it's butter mushroom sauce that we're cooking it in. So coat all the onions with that butter mushroom sauce until it's clear. Until it's, until the mushrooms are all transparent, translucent, and it would be about 5-6 minutes. Alright, what else? What would be next after this part? Because I usually, like, when I'm waiting, I would prepare for the next part of the recipe. It's like if there's time where I'm just waiting for something to cook, like these onions, I'm like, what else could I do right now while I'm waiting? So let me see. The recipe says okay, so it says after the onions are clear, I was going to add my flour. And my flour, it said to use half a cup, so I'm going to use 3/4 of a cup. And let's see, where's my cup? I put it out here. Here it is. Here's my one. Here's a half cup. Here's a full cup. We're supposed to use a half, so I'll use the half and a quarter. This is actually a half cup. I'll use this thing. 3 of these. So while that's going, I'm just gonna scoop out 3 1/4 cups of flour. Make sure this is mixed here. There we go. Oh yeah, that's good. Occasionally mix it so it will cook evenly. Padow. Alright. Flour. I'm using just regular baking flour. Any flour will do, as long as it's white. Simply pour go. That's half. And then half of that is more. Okay, right there. 3/4. Now, I've never did a lot of recipes. This is like the only one where after these are done being cooked, the onions, you pour flour into it. I'm thinking, flour? Well, it's like a bready. Are you trying to bake it, or it becomes like this mushy, I don't know, like a dough almost when you put the flour in here. But I'm not sure what it does, but it does taste good. The whole soup tastes good at the end. But yeah, flour, interesting. Flour in a soup. Who would have thought, right? Alright, so here's my flour, but I'm not going to put it yet. These onions are about halfway done. Mix it up here. Smush it in there, make sure it's got all that juice to soak in while it's boiling, sauteing. There we go. I'm going to wash my dishes while I'm waiting for that to saute. Wash your dishes while you're cooking. Makes it easier. It doesn't pile up at the end of the session. You'll have a big pile, which is never really pleasant or fun to clean, right? Maybe I feel like I'm a little less talkative in this session. I am a little tired. I played a bunch of games with my cousins online, biking. I cleaned my aquarium today. I didn't really eat much. I ate like a sandwich and 2 Cliff Bars and a banana. That's kind of all I had today. I'm kind of hungry right now. But it's okay. I think I should eat like a fruit right now to crave my hunger pains. Yeah, probably have a grapefruit on the side while I'm doing this. Okay, so these onions, not yet really clear. They're still solid. Onions always take a while. These things. Pan it back down there. Yeah, you can see that's solid. We don't want solid. We want it how the edges look. See, those edges are kind of clear. We want that throughout the whole thing. Give it some time. When you bite into the soup, basically the onion, you can't really, it's not crunchy at all. It's you don't even know it's there. It's like so soft and thin. It's like there's not supposed to be a crunch to the onion of the soup. It's like pretty much almost melted into it, but not quite melted, but just very, very soft onion. Yeah, this soup it takes a while to prepare. Like the whole thing from beginning to end, I'm talking about once you buy, like when you buy everything, like once it's all in your house, when you start to prepare for vegetables to completion, it's like 2.5 hours. For me it is, to finish this thing. It's a while. That also includes making croutons, which come along with this recipe. Now, I do make croutons. It's optional. You don't have to make croutons, but there's a side recipe on how to make croutons, and I actually do it every time because those croutons, homemade croutons, are bomb with this soup. It's easy to make too, and I'm gonna make an entire video on that itself because it's pretty much, to me, the croutons are part of this dish. If you don't have the croutons to pour over your soup, it's not the same. It definitely isn't the same. You gotta have them. So I'll be making that later as well. I'll show you guys how to make it too. Okay, another 5 minutes or so for these onions. I'll just leave them here. Let them swim. Oh man, that smells good. There we go. What's this black thing right here? What is this? The hell? Oh, that's just a mushroom. Okay. I thought it was like, I don't know, a burnt up something. I don't like having foreign objects in my food. Like sometimes I'll find a piece of plastic from the wrapping or something. I'm like, yeah, what are you doing in my food? Get out of here. Yeah. So, yeah, this things here, these brown things, that's just part of the mushroom. It's just been overcooked. Okay. So I would say, not yet fully sauteed. Almost. Some of them are, but not all of them. Just keep mixing it. Come on, guys. Sometimes I wish food could be instantaneous, but that's not the way this world works. Good things take time. Good things take time and effort and work. So yeah, like cooking is like a metaphor for life, you know? There's some lessons to be learned. See, I didn't realize, but like cooking it's a mixture of art and science. Because like what it is like, yeah, you're basically mixing up ingredients and heating them or altering them, altering their molecular state. But you have to know like what goes well with what, and it is a beautiful thing. That's why I love cooking, because it's kind of like art, because you got to be careful with what you're doing. You're making something, but it's also scientific, which I am, because you know there's temperatures, there's measurements, it's timing, and it's like what mixes well. So molecular bonding of different flavors, different textures. That's all cool to me. I like that stuff. Because like these recipes that I find, I'm sure, you know, over time, it's just experimentation, like what goes well with what. And this recipe here, this soup recipe, like, man, whoever came up with it, it's great. But it's basically people experimenting in their kitchens. That's how these good things come to be. I like this one. Okay, so these onions are pretty much ready. So the recipe says to mix the flour in the onions, but you got to be very slowly adding the flour, like a little bit at a time. So I'll show you how that's done. So get your flour, but you kind of hit the sides. I'm going to get the camera at a better angle there. Okay. So you kind of bump the sides to get a little bit at a time. See that? So you lightly coat the onions, just a little bit at a time, and then you kind of mix it. So that much you mix till it's gone. Flatten it out. Lower the heat a little bit to medium, and then do it again. So we're going to just put a light coating of flour every time, not the whole thing. Because if you dump the whole thing, it's going to clot. You want this flour to cover the onions evenly. And this is the way to do it. So just a little bit at a time. And you're going to see what happens to the consistency of these onions. It's going to start to change. And you'll see this. Make sure all that flour's there. It's going to soak up the oil. Okay, there you go. Set up again. And just keep repeating this till all the flour's gone. Yeah, see, it's going to start to clump up on you too. And we're not even like a third of the way through the flour yet, but I'm following the recipe here. See, it's getting a little clumpy. There we go. Like that. Boom. See, all the liquid's kind of gone because the flour kind of soaked it up. But it's kind of like the flour is just kind of everywhere, evenly. So it's not, I don't know, it's hard to describe, but it's in there. It's just kind of stuck to the onions. It's not like a onion ring though, where it's like all the way around it. Definitely not like that, but okay. So you can see that this mixture is getting very dry. There's no more oil or butter oil or mushroom butter oil in there. It's all kind of a clumpy thing at this point. I think one more pass. There we go. All right. just mix it up till all that flour bits are kind of gone. And there you have it. See this? This clumpy onion thing. Doughy like. But that's part of the soup. You eat this. But like there's going to be a lot of liquid. And plus the pumpkin cream and the whipping cream, that's all going to be in here too, which it's going to be like a very soupy consistency by the time this is done. Because there's going to be a lot of liquid going into here. Okay, so the next part of the recipe, I think it's to add the broth and the pumpkin. And notice that this is not just any pumpkin. This is pumpkin filling for pies. Like I don't know how to describe this. Well, you'll see it. It's like the stuff that they put in pie filling. Pumpkin, but it's just called pumpkin. Look at this. It's just 100% pure pumpkin. But the picture of the pie there, it's really this stuff. Okay, so let me just verify that the recipe calls for the broth and the pumpkin. Hold on. Okay, I was right. So I'm going to be adding a quart. This is like a quart and a half. Well, anyway, you're supposed to add 2 quarts. So I'm adding 3 quarts. So this is, anyway, do the math. Because like, you know, quarts, cups, they're all different. Like, there's fluid ounces, there's pounds, there's grams. The recipe says quarts, but for every 32 ounces is 1 quart. Something like that. So shake it up. Open it up. Just pour it in. I like to add the broth first before the pumpkin, because the pumpkin is more, you know, like pumpkin filling. It's very creamy. I don't want to put that in first. I put the broth first. Okay. More broth. I didn't shake it. Oh, there. Look at that. See this? Interesting. Interesting looking. Okay. So that was a quart. I need to fill another half, so I'm going to get my last one and do half of it. Okay. And then I have to put in my pumpkin. And how many cups? I think it's 3. Yeah, it's 3. So I think I have 2 of these cans. I think I'm going to open up one of them, and hopefully I think one, I don't know, maybe this will give me 2 each. So I might end up making 4 cups, but should be 3. Follow the recipe. Okay, where's my cup? Here it is. So I grab my new Padao opener, can opener. Oh boy. Ugh. My first time using this thing. it working? Yes. There we go. Let me zoom out so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, I think my camera like auto stopped on me there for a second. I was scared. I thought I actually wasn't recording. So that would have been a bummer if I didn't hit the record button. But anyway, I just wanted to show you the pumpkin. There it is. And we're gonna get 3 cups of it. Just filling. Here's 1 cup. Oh, I think I might have 3 actually. Here's a 2nd cup. Full. See, it's like that orangey thing. And, oh yeah, okay. Good. One of these bigger cans is exactly 3 cups. So this can is 29 ounces. I think that's why I've always, when I make this recipe, I always make at least 1.5 or double what the recipe is on the recipe. I double the ingredients basically, because why? Well, first of all, this dish is kind of hard to make or tedious to make. So the more I make of it at one time, you know, the more I'll get out of it. The more there would be, because I could do lesser amount, like the ingredient says, or the recipe says, a lesser amount, the amount specified there, but it will only feed like 8. So this amount will feed 12, and trust me, this stuff will go away fast. Okay, so I added the pumpkin, and I was lucky that 1 can was enough for 3 cups. So I'm still on point with my 1.5 ratio here. I'm going to get a different kind of spatula for this part. I'm going to get the one with the holes in it. Push this in there. Okay. So you're supposed to bring this to a boil. And that's what I'm going to do, basically. I just wanted to capture this last part because the video got cut off, but I added the pumpkin, and you kind of just stir it. You stir this occasionally, and you let this come to a boil, and once it hits the boiling point, turn down the heat so it's more of like a simmer. You don't want it bubbling like a cauldron. You just kind of want it bubbling. So you could, and then once it hits that boiling point where it's bubbling nicely, let it do that for 20 minutes. I'm going to also have it covered. But, you know, stir it like this. Just make sure that pumpkin mixture is nice and heated. But, see, that creamy is now blended into the soup itself. All the liquid is now kind of one except for that onion and flour mixture. So this is exactly how it looks. But this is really the halfway point. There's more. There's a lot more. Just follow that part. I'm going to bring this to a boil. I'm going to turn off the video for now and then wait till that whole wait till this boils 20 minutes. I'll come back in 20 minutes and I'll start the video for the next part of this soup recipe. So, alright. Yeah, you don't want to sit here watching this thing boil for 20 minutes, obviously, on video. That would be a pretty boring video. But it'd probably be more entertaining than watching grass grow or paint dry, as they say, as far as boring things go. Alright, so anyway, I'll be back for the next part. Yes. Later.